Hey, what's up everyone? It is the INFP guy here, and I've been watching a lot of reaction videos lately, and I've been feeling quite inspired to sort of do an INFP react kind of thing. There's one thing that I really love, and it's analyzing literally anyone's possible MBTI, or if I already know someone's MBTI, it's watching them like talk and do stuff that suggests they are that MBTI, and it just confirms everything. And it's really interesting because every INFP is different, just like everyone is different in the world, and it's really interesting to see what these differences can be. So we'll be focusing on a lot of INFP celebrities doing interviews, a lot of which happens to be musicians. Surprise? I don't think so. I think half of INFPs out there has to be either popular musicians or secretly musicians. There's no in between. So I'm going to be looking at various interviews, just certain videos of other INFPs, and just reacting and discussing what makes this INFP different, or how do they utilize their functions. So I'm really excited to crack down with this. Yeah, let's do it. Now, the most interesting INFP I've ever known is David Bowie. David Bowie has an amazing mind. He, other than being a musician, in some cases he's almost a genius. He's a very imaginative genius. He's so specific, and he's really good at method acting too. He's known for putting himself in situations just so he can write about the situation. In the context of a narrative. So for example, there was a song he wrote about loneliness, but in order to write the song in the first place, he purposely isolated himself in a dark room just so he can write about it. And it's just different. That's a different kind of dedication, man. Just saying. Now, was he on hell a lot of drugs back then? Absolutely. Which is pretty unfortunate.
I find that I'm a person who can take on the guises of different people that I meet. I can switch accents in seconds of meeting somebody, and I can adopt their accent. I've always found that I collect.
That is classic extroverted intuition. Just like throwing all possibilities out there and being able to switch possibility to possibility and to recreate yourself and adapt. That is exactly extroverted intuition. Extroverted intuition in the context of INFPs would be to reflect. Either someone or something. So when someone is expressing emotions, an INFP is more likely to reflect rather than like combat it or like offer solutions. It's going to sort of switch perspectives, and I think that's what he's describing here, that he does, and he acts like he does it very subconsciously, which is so interesting.
I'm a collector, and I've always just seemed to collect personalities, ideas. I have a hodgepodge philosophy, which really is very minimal. Very little.
Again, it's very NE right here. Alright, so that was a bit of the David Bowie interview, which was a great start. It was a great sort of perspective into extroverted intuition. I just searched up INFP interviews to make it easier, and here is a video, Tom Hiddleston and Stephen Colbert being INFPs. Let's have a look at this. Now, I know Tom Hiddleston's a pretty well-known INFP, so this is going to be very interesting. Oh, it's between two INFPs, okay.
Hamlet. There's a big one. There it is. There you go. You played Hamlet? Well, played Hamlet. Okay, first question. To be or not to be, Tom? That's a question, man.
It's a big question.
It is, yeah?
It's a big question to open with.
It is really a big question,
I wonder if anyone's ever asked that question.
No, I don't know. I'm a pretty good question asker.
I mean, it's the question. Let's face it.
Yeah. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles and buy a potion.
Well, okay, hold on. No. This dude right here is not an INFP. There's no way. There is no way. No way. INFP. No freaking way. He actually takes the MBTI test. What? Oh man, I gotta see this. Oh, that's awesome. I had zero clue this dude was an INFP. So that actually explains the video now.
Outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles and buy opposing.
Okay, sharing a bit of extroverted intuition. Like they set off something small and then they sort of grow it. They go from simple to complex in like 2 seconds.
To die, to sleep no more.
Yeah.
By sleep, to say we end the heartache and the 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to. It is a consummation. Devoutly to be wished.
Yes. To die.
To sleep.
You can see it in his eyes when he's saying those words that like he knows absolutely what he's talking about, but everyone in the audience probably don't. He's sort of speaking from such a deep perspective that it's kind of out of nowhere, but Stephen Colbert's able to decipher it. That is some crazy like FI kind of shit, you know what I mean? Oh, they're both so awkward. Wait. They're watching two of the same person.
So,
That's pretty cute. That's pretty cute INFP playfulness going around here. It's basically exchanging lots of like coded thoughts and words, and the reason why they're both smiling is that they're reacting to these thoughts because of how similar they are in terms of functions, and the way that they behave is similar because of the personality type. So once they subconsciously notice those wrapped thoughts and ideas, they're like, wow, like yeah, they can read all of it, they can understand it, and it makes them weirdly connected in a different way. And then that's when the FI pops up and was like, whoa, that's so cool. And that's why now they're just playing around, because it's just they got comfortable together in like 5 seconds, which is really, really cute.
Thumb wrestle.
Another example of INFP awkwardness.
you have a warm-up for the show, I presume.
I do. I slap myself in the face really hard twice.
So this game...
Some crazy FI type stuff here, like some crazy self-introspective / reflection kind of techniques these guys do in their jobs, which is kind of interesting.
It is as absurd as it sounds. It's called Big Booty. And I played this game, it's you stand in a circle and you number off from the top. Big Booty's at the top.
It's the NE, it's the... Oh my god, it's the rambling for me. Like, now they're comfortable to a point where, you know what, I'm gonna take over this show and make my NE take over. Let it go anywhere, like, just say a bunch of stuff.
Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And you have to keep this metronomic rhythm. It's kind of call and response. And if you make a mistake or you break the rhythm, you fluff your line, you go to the back of the circle.
Trying to decipher everything.
The aim of the game is to maintain the big booty position.
And what would that...
I think Tom is starting to realize that he's sort of rambled a little bit. Like I know at the start he didn't think he would be rambling at that point because his mind is already like thinking about this topic because he's so passionate. So he's just connected to a point where he feels comfortable to say anything with any length. But at this point, I think his FI kicked in because he's in front of people. I think all of a sudden he drew attention to himself and he's like, oh crap, I just said all that like to this dude who probably pretended to listen or didn't care. I think he sort of had that like sort of quick reaction, and that's why he's like, his eyes sort of dropped a little bit, his smile just went a little bit less bright, which is an interesting observation to make.
Okay, Stephen, you gotta stay on top of the big booty.
Words to live by, Tom.
The impulsiveness is coming in. Wow. That was such a blast. It's rare enough to see an INFP in a big interview like that, but it's just also rare to see two INFPs in the same interview. And it's so interesting because this showcases how different but similar we all can be. Usually it's rare to find someone that connects to things the same way you do as an INFP. Which is why personally as an INFP, when I talk to other INFPs, we do exactly what we do here. We ramble and then it just turns into something else, and then it just it's just one long spontaneous conversation. All right, let's do some more INFP interviews. INFP versus INFJ. Andrew Garfield and Curry Mulligan. This is going to be interesting. I'm a huge Andrew Garfield fan. I'm just going to end it there, actually. I'm not even going to talk about him. Wow, what? Someone out there has already analyzed Andrew Garfield. MBTI context-wise. Wow. I thought I was being original for this. And here it's talking about FE and FI. So obviously FE being the second function of an INFJ and FI being the first function of an INFP. So two polar opposite functions, but they're very similar and they usually connect the best. Example of FE use. Before the interview starts, Molly then figures out how she will sit. So I guess she's determining how she will sit based on how others would perceive it. Which is, you know, classic extroverted feeling.
I'm going to sit like this, see? Is that
Yeah. Yeah, already asking people, is this weird? Am I doing something wrong here? Am I seeming weird? It's that subconscious kicking in already. Appropriateness, yeah. Appropriateness, she's aware, and then alignment with others. Like, she wants to make sure, hey everyone, are you okay with this? So now, basically, how an INFP would do this.
I think it was so wonderful for us to kind of do that, and I think it was
Okay, already there's a bit of FI self-reflection going on a little bit. You can hear it in his voice that he's taking his time with how he's processing the emotions that he's talking about.
a very necessary thing. I'm going to copy Kerry's sitting position, because I don't know why.
to make you feel better?
He doesn't know why. It's okay. There's already a tiny bit of impulsive NE just sneaking in a little bit. You know, he was talking about emotions, and all of a sudden he wants to copy someone else's position because why not?
Yeah, it just makes me feel like we're in line and bonded. And so yeah, I think that was one of the great things about that.
So this is really interesting. I didn't realize that he was like right next to her. So that makes sense, I guess. Her first instinct, because of having FE, was to do what other people thought was appropriate. Pretty classic. But Andrew's first instinct was to talk about the experience, talk about how he felt in that experience, and talk about something that wasn't in the environment around him. But after that, then the environment kicked in, because it's like a second nature to INFPs. The first nature is to always lose yourself in something you're talking about, and then, oh, what's happening around here? And I think he's trying to adapt with Annie here to what she's doing in order to reflect. So it just goes back to the reflect style that INFPs tend to do. Garfield just neglected two opportunities for showing the same aspects of FE as Mulligan did before. So I'm assuming they're going to talk about FI and be like, well, clearly he, you know, sort of prioritized things a little differently. Appropriateness, he doesn't acknowledge the general property of putting shoes on the couch. Yeah, I mean, this could be taken so many different ways. You could look at FE as something that's like intense insecurity. Usually insecurity that comes from environments where the people had to be successful or had to appeal to something or someone. And clearly FI comes from a place of either someone given just a little bit more freedom than that, or someone who prefers authenticity and prefers to not care what other people think as a way of freedom. So I think they're basically saying that his first instinct wasn't everyone. Alignment with others, he does not look at Mulligan to see her reaction, even though he says he is changing his sitting position in order to feel bonded with her. So I'm assuming they're just talking about, you know, he's not expecting a reaction, he's just doing it because why not? I guess it's to feel comfortable. An example of FI use. The interviewer asks a question that pushes a button for Garfield. So I guess what we're about to see is FI just swarming in.
Because kids are, you know, stripped away of possibility as.
Oh, okay. So by pushes a button, it doesn't mean anger. I think it just like hit him in the spot of something that he was very interested and passionate in.
You should answer this because you're vehemently nodding your
I
head.
hated school.
Oh, okay. So now, the FI is like, hell yeah. Like, I think what's happened is he's like, this person understands me, and that liberated feeling with FI.
Hated school, and I didn't realize why. I thought I was there was something wrong with me for hating school and not being able to deal with school. At the time, it was ingrained in me that school was, if you're not successful at school, you're not going to be successful at life. And the hierarchy with subjects at school, like the arts, are given no credence, and if they are, it's false credence.
So obviously, he's discussing about the hierarchies of school, and it's a strangely common INFP or FI thing. Like ISFPs tend to do this a lot too, where they tend to hate hierarchies because what these types tend to believe in is something more in line with equality or equity. And what he's saying here is sort of like an equity perspective. Like he's discussing art, like why can't art be successful? Like this is something that some people haven't been interested in. Why is it like this? Like what is it? How does it make it fair?
So I look back on it and I get angry. I'm angry about it because, you know.
Yeah, it's the FI. It's the moral standard. It's like what these people or subjects deserve.
You know, there might be a brilliant ballerina somewhere in a school who's being forced to do maths.
Okay, so now he's talking from the perspective of other people. So obviously you can tell at the first hand he talks about how he hates school, how he this or how he that. So immediately FI comes to play, and then he uses any to explain the hierarchies and how it affects the meaning of success in certain subjects. And now he's talking about other people that should have deserved more success in different ways, and he's discussing how they're being forced to do stuff they don't enjoy. So he's obviously using his personal FI. He's using the perspective of what he enjoys, and he's looking at it from a perspective of what if someone made me do something I don't enjoy? How would that like how would I react to that with my FI? He's putting that perspective into other people. How would they feel based on his FI? So that's a good example of NE being that kind of cool bestie with FI. So that is it. This was a lot of fun. I think I've learned different things with different INFP celebrities, as well as how an INFP deals with fame, which is something I'm kind of interested in because some of my favorite musicians are INFP, and I've noticed they all handle fame in different but similar ways, and I might dive into that at some point. It might be something really interesting to focus on. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you guys for watching this, and let me know what you guys want to see. See you guys later.